This isn't therapy. It's a reckoning. For the men who've been lied to about love, and the women who sold safety instead of truth. We say the things you're not supposed to say out loud. I'm Author. This is Cuff. Every week, we go deeper. There's a version of you that shuts down when it gets hard, goes quiet, goes cold, goes somewhere no one can reach. And then there's another version that blows up, says the thing, breaks the thing, regrets the thing. Neither one is broken. Both are just dysregulated. Emotional regulation isn't about being calm. It's about knowing where you are in your body before your body makes decisions for you. And nervous system stability, that's not a personality trait. You either have it or you don't. It's a skill. It's a practice. It's something you can actually build. I'm Author. This is Cuffed. 2 musings, 20 minutes. Let's get into it. Like many of the topics that end up on the podcast, the 2 that we're going to cover today go hand to glove, fit perfectly together. The first that we're going to talk about is musing number 105, which is emotional regulation, and musing 106, which is nervous system stability. I'm going to be completely honest here. I have not given these 2 subjects much thought until we started working through this series or arc together. I think I was nibbling at the edges of both of these for a while. I was thinking about my childhood and experiences that I had growing up and relationships I have. And as recently as the previous podcast, episode 25, I was talking about how my life always ended up with certain people in it. People who had no emotional regulation. And by them not having emotional regulation, when I would have to have these difficult conversations with these people, I would do whatever I could to avoid that conflict. Not because I couldn't have the difficult conversation. I didn't want to deal with their bullshit, meaning them blowing up, them offloading their emotions onto me. I have a hard enough time dealing with my own inner war. I don't need to have a front row seat at theirs too. And that made me start thinking, like, where does this come from? And the more I'm working through this, the more I'm starting to see that it started in my childhood. As much as I loved my mother, she was a bombastic woman. She would go from 0 to 100, and she never let you not know when she was disappointed. And for a large part of my life, I was constantly chasing her approval. And so this whole concept of emotional regulation started in my childhood, which makes sense, but it seems like common sense and, hey, no shit, it starts in your childhood. But that's only the first step. That's only awareness. What I never did was really start to set aside my ego and start to really look at not only my internal behavior and my external behavior, but where it came from. And in order for me to examine where it comes from, not only do I have to be aware of it, I have to be honest about it. I have to confront it. And so part of the emotional regulation aspects that I've really struggled with is the avoidance. And what does that look like? It looks like shutting down and withdrawing, going, as I call it, inside my head to try to work through it. But that hasn't worked so well. It's hard to form relationships where the genuine relationship requires intimacy and vulnerability. That withdrawal and avoidance doesn't allow either one of those to take root. And so I think, or I know now, the problem with a lot of early relationships was because of that. And my lack of internal emotional regulation meant that I would honestly get overwhelmed easily. So when someone else was having a difficult time that I was in a relationship with, I would want space, which would look like withdrawal to them, which it was, rightfully, let's call it what it was. But I never realized the damage that did. And now that I look at it, I don't know how I didn't see it, because how does somebody rely on you or count on you when you can't be present, when things start to go, when things get difficult, you disappear? Who the fuck wants to be in a relationship with a person like that? I mean, thinking and talking out loud about this now, I can't believe how fucking absurd it is. And what bothers me more is not that I'm able to identify it in myself, but in observing and watching and listening, you start to see how many men do this. The problem isn't that it's totally their fault. We learn this early on from our fathers, and my father was no different. He withdrew. He's an avoidant. He has little emotional regulation. He lashes out when he's angry, and we'll get into this more in the second half with nervous system stability. But he would punish you in these stupid little ways, but he would go quiet. But guess who also did that? His father. And I don't want to be like these guys. I don't want to be like that ever with my son or my daughters. That's really what drives me. Yes. The way the relationship ended with Tabitha holding her standards was the catalyst for me starting to look at it, all of this stuff. But it's a shame that it took for it to come to that. For me to finally start really examining things and start to do the work. So let's get into nervous system stability, because this is, like I said, from the get-go, this is an extension of emotional regulation. So nervous system stability is, when you want to think about it simply, it's fight or flight, right? Are you gonna run or are you gonna stay and fight? Your body knows. We as humans, though, love to overwhelm the body with our mind and our heart. Meaning, we've talked a lot about hope on this podcast and in the musings on cuffedmedia.com. Hope overrides everything. Think about it. I'm sure we can all admit that we ended up somewhere, either in a friendship, in an intimate relationship with a partner that was bad for us. If that hasn't happened to you, please teach me. I think from the vast majority of us, we had been in those relationships. And then we get to a point where things go bad. And we start to look at it, and the first thing we say is, how could I be so stupid? What did I do to myself? And you weren't stupid. You just had an excessive amount of hope. We all do. Whether it's they'll change, or you remember who they were in the beginning of the relationship, not the end of the relationship. So you build up this mythological person and relationship in your head, and that overrides what your body's telling you, which is, this is bad, we need to go. But the head and the heart keep us in it. And at some point, we owe it to ourselves to stop doing that. We deserve better than that. Say that again. We deserve better than that. I deserve better than that. But that's only the first step. Now let's talk about, and what's funny is, what's not funny, it's by design, by the way. This is where the book Earned, which is going to be going live on shop.cuffmedia.com Thursday at midnight, or Friday, whichever. You can be technical if you want. It'll be technically Friday, but anyway, it's the gap between stimulus and response. Somebody does something, and you either react or you give yourself enough of a pause to disrupt the reaction. And we've all done it, let's be honest. Someone has done something, or we have experienced disappointment, or whatever it might be, and our emotions got the best of us. This is the nervous system stability part. This is where the book comes in. Earned The whole idea of earned is focusing on making the time between the stimulus and the reaction as long as possible. Is it perfect? No. Will you ever master it? No. And you're not supposed to. We call it the ladder. Basically, level 1 is autopilot. It's how a lot of us humans move through a large portion of our day. And what's interesting is the human body, the human brain is designed to do this. It's an efficiency mechanism. So what happens? You wake up, you go through your routine, you get in your car, you end up at work, and by the time you actually notice, your workday's over and you're like, wow, where did the day go? That's the efficiency mechanism taking over. That's autopilot. That's step 1, or level 1 on the ladder. Level 2 is knowing that autopilot is happening, but being aware of it. It's thinking about actually driving to work instead of just driving to work. It's somebody doing something and observing your response to it. It's not interrupting you yet. Interrupting it is level 3. That's when you actually interrupt the response, and so forth and so on. Level 4 is, you get better at it, you're able to control the response and elongate the time in between the stimulus and whatever. And level 5 is when other people observe it in you. And so level 5 is never a status you're able to achieve. It's other people recognizing it in you. But this is so important because if we aren't able to disrupt our response to situations, are we ever in control? Or are we just I don't know how to phrase it in either way, but we're kind of a slave to our nervous system. Is that really the way we want to live? Is that the life we want? That every time someone disappoints us, we lash out? And I've done it. I've done thinking about it while writing this and working on this has made me sick. Thinking about the small, petty shit I would do. And I would always choose the petty stuff because there's plausible deniability there. Oh no, I thought everyone else dreams. I didn't think you wanted anything. No, I did it because you pissed me off. And so I'm going to exclude you. I'm going to subtract. Yeah, I did that petty shit. And I'm not proud of it. But I see it. And I understand where it comes from now. And why I did it. I don't agree with it. And I don't want to do it. Trust me, it is still a struggle that I deal with every day. Let me give it a recent example. This literally just happened days ago. My kids, basically, my oldest, she's entirely too smart and observant for her own good. So she tells my ex things about me that I don't understand why she does it. I don't know if she's just filling her in or my ex is prodding or whatever it is. But then I have to hear it from my ex, sending me these crazy text messages. So what do? I put purposely not buy my oldest her favorite energy drinks, but I buy my son one. Yes, I literally just did that 2 to 3 days ago, and I'm disgusted. I'm working it though. I apologized to her. I said that I'm not proud of it and I'm gonna do better. That's all we can do. And that's what the ladder and the whole concept of the earn book looks like in real time. And as a matter of fact, we're in a spin when earn launches. Like I said, it'll be available as PDF ebook Thursday midnight. It'll go wide for all ebook platforms June 29th. In between that, we're in a spin up the Earn podcast so we can start working on these specific situations that involve the book, but on its own podcast, because I don't want to muddy and commingle these two together. Anyway, I hope you have a great week. Hold the standard. Stay close.